Welcome to Curious Salma. My guest today is Dina Maaty. Dina has been a Dubai expat for over 10 years, working as an editor as well as in public relations. When I asked her what's an interesting fact about her, she said, I'm a Gemini. That says a lot about me. Dina connected with me through LinkedIn. I'm so happy to have her on my podcast today. Hi, Dina.
Hi, Salma. Lovely to be with you here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for offering to be a guest on my podcast. And I'm excited to get to know your story today.
Thank you. It's my first podcast, so that's very exciting.
I love that. I love that I'm getting some people out of their comfort zone to try this out with me. I wanted to ask you first, what are you curious about?
I'm generally a very curious person, so I live every day trying to explore new things and discover new things. And I'm fascinated by the smallest things in life. So I'm generally quite a curious person, which I think is also a Gemini thing. Yeah, I find magic in everything, like they say. I love a lot of things. I love technology, I love innovation, I love media, so many beautiful things in life.
And you have been working in content and public relations and writing. What attracted you to this industry?
I'm a journalism major. So this is journalism and mass communication is my major and my passion and my everything. And I started off working in HR and then I decided it wasn't for me. I had to go and pursue my dream. And so I moved to media because I've always been interested in media and in being an editor actually since I was a kid. So it was like a dream come true for me basically.
Since you were a kid.
Since I was a kid, I was fascinated by magazines and I've always wanted to like know who runs the magazine, who writes in the magazine. I would go and buy these teenage magazines. Nobody was really interested in them. I used to live abroad and they were quite expensive because they used to get them from the US and I would get them and they would be my treat, like my gift. And I would study every page. So it's not your typical, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut. It was basically wanting to be an editor.
You know, when I was in school, maybe elementary school, I used to buy weekly newspaper and a certain one in Egypt, and I used to stay in the school playground, and I would be the only one reading like a
Reading
newspaper.
a
You know,
newspaper.
yeah.
So see,
I was also very passionate about becoming a journalist since I was younger, actually.
it's something that you have in you, and it's not every child, it's special people who enjoy that.
True. Where did you live abroad?
I lived in so many countries because my father was in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So I lived in Venezuela for a while. I lived in Romania, even in Sudan and Armenia. So lots of very different places. So I think this played a role in shaping me. But to me, there's no city like Dubai.
Living abroad in different or growing up in different cities, that must have taught you a lot, right?
It has more than anyone can ever imagine. I think it teaches you and it takes away from you at the same time. It makes you have really high standards for everything because you've seen everything, and when you've seen everything, it makes it easier to know what you want. I think people who have grown up in the same place all their lives are very different from someone who has been exposed to so many different things. It makes it easier and more difficult for you later at the same time, and it makes you a very different special person. And so when you want to make friends, to get in relationships, to find a job, it dictates this decision making, so it shapes you in a way.
Yeah, I would assume it also exposes you to different cultures, which makes you more, accepting and, more open minded, I guess.
It does, but it also, and I know this is something that not many people say, on the other side you also see the very dark side of many different cultures, and it forms a certain opinion. I know for some people it's all rosy, and I've seen people from different cultures. I accept and tolerate everyone, but it also shows you some negative parts of everyone's personality. And so it also shapes you in a way. You end up having both. Again, as a Gemini, there's always this white and black, right? So you get to see both sides and you have both sides within you, and it lives within you. It's so different for traveling to a place, and staying there for even a month is very different from living there. You really get to see people inside out, and you find yourself seeking these people again. Like I lived in Romania, And now in Dubai, a lot of my friends are Romanian. You look for these people again, you sort of want to find them again in a way. So it's very interesting. Romanians are very direct. They are very open, very honest. They will not sugarcoat anything, but at the same time, they're really, really good friends who are going to be by your side no matter what. And this is something that's very important for me. So I think this is the click is there. This is what I find in them.
What is the most important lesson you've learned over your career?
Oh, that's a very big one. The most important lesson, positive or negative? Positive, follow your heart. As cheesy as it sounds, do whatever you think is right. And no matter how much advice you listen to, follow your heart at the end of the day, because it's going to guide you to what you love, and what you love is the most important thing. Negative is be careful who you trust and who you open up to, because a lot of people will seem like angels and they will seem like the perfect colleagues, but they will change after. So, and sometimes they don't really mean it. It happens in a way that they want to just keep their jobs or something like that. I'm a very open person and I say everything. I don't conceal. I'm a very bad liar. So I say everything to everyone. And this is such a huge mistake. You need to be very careful with people, especially if you have a good heart.
I kind of can understand completely what you're saying in a way.
Yeah,
I would maybe rephrase it and say, like, try to understand the politics of the workplace you're in, because I've been in that, in your shoes, like, many times, although, like, you have much more experience. But I mean, yeah, I think if you don't understand how it works, if the workplace is a bit more toxic, or there's a lot of passive aggressiveness, and people not saying what they mean, then you're not going to fit. And it's one of the things I'm trying to learn, actually, is like knowing when to say no, I'm not going to be a good fit in that place.
that is very true. That is very true. And understanding that there is such a thing as a toxic work culture, because before I thought there was no such thing. I was put in so many different environments, and in environments that people said were toxic, but I found them to be quite okay. But there is this thing, and there are environments where people do not want you to succeed, so you have to be very careful with that and understand whenever you need to give up, because if you're in a setting where people do not want you to succeed, there's not much you can do, no matter how amazing you are, so you really need to, like you said, choose the place where you're going to fit in, and understand that this is your place, and understand that there are places that are just not for you. They can be for someone else that knows how
Yeah.
to play the game. But if you don't know how to play their game, there's no point in staying.
Yeah, that's what I've been discovering lately. And yeah, it's a journey. Life is a journey.
It is.
What's your favorite productivity hack?
Productivity hack. That's a very interesting question. I think I always have like a cute notebook, and I write thing in the note, and I write the things I need to do, and I just tick them off whenever I'm done with something. I just remove it from there. I think a lot of people nowadays rely on digital. I still love having a pen and paper and a cute notebook and having a nice place to work. And what do they call them? Sound canceling headphones. Because as a writer, sometimes you're going to be in environments where people are extremely loud and there's no way around this, and you're not going to be able to write. So invest in good in a good pair of headphones and disconnect from everything.
That's, yeah, I relate to that as well, 100%. I am, especially if I'm writing something and I want to focus on it. Yeah, I have to have my headphones, my music, and just, this, be completely in the zone.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Where do you self educate?
I know people want you to say books and libraries, and I used to read a lot actually, but I will tell you something. I find the TV to be a very interesting source of education. A lot of people say, oh, watching TV, this is a low vibration activity. I highly disagree. I think there's inspiration in everything on TV, including art, including shows that are absolutely ridiculous. I think people forget that there are script writers, directors, there are people behind these things that have this mentality, and there are always hidden references in there. There's so much to see in film and in art, and it does inspire life. So I think it's not always about reading a book. Watching a show can give you as much knowledge as reading a book, and inspiration. There's some quotes in there I see that I've never seen in my life, when something just clicks in my head. So I'm a big
I love
film.
that.
TV person. Yeah, I believe in the power of the big screen, like they say.
What's the best life lesson you learned from a movie or from TV?
This is very interesting. The best one across the board, there are so many of them actually. But recently, I was watching American Horror Story, and it's a very tricky place to get inspiration from. But she said something that was very interesting. She was talking to her son, and she told him, "That's the thing about you. You're constantly waiting for the world to fix itself, and you think that somehow the good guy is going to win and the bad people are going to lose. And this is just like hope." And this is something that I've heard a lot. And recently, someone who's like, he's an inspirational figure. He said, "Hope is a very tricky word. Stop saying, I hope. Don't say this word. It's not going to get you anywhere." And I think that's the thing. I think waiting for things and hoping for things and hoping that everybody is like you and hoping that the bad guys are going to lose and all of these things we learned as kids, this is not going to get you anywhere. The world can be quite unfair sometimes. And the way to survive is just the way to survive. Some people are gonna kick people out of the way and destroy everyone to get there, and they might win in the end because this is the life we live in, basically. So the sooner I think people understand that, the better life is. That's in my opinion.
Ouch.
It's very harsh, but it's very true at the same time. It's just true. That's why I told you I'm a Gemini, because I have this side of me that's like a butterfly and so cute, and then there's the other side that's quite dark.
I like dark humor more than I love it.
Yes,
It's a
one of
coping
the best.
mechanism to when the word, as you said, is harsh. Hope is the dangerous route. I've heard this a lot.
Yes.
But you know what, Dina? Like, I want to argue that yeah, there are people who will stand in the way or obstacles for everyone and all of that. That we won't deny that. Like I've talked before with some of my guests, that yes, we have to acknowledge the world is not fair. It's not created equal for everyone and all of that. But I mean, for us, like if you're not born in like a lucky or privileged part of town of the world, I mean, if you focus on this or focus on the people who are going to stand in the way and the obstacles, then I don't think that one will get as far as if they continue, working hard and doing what they can and just like acknowledging, be yani, pragmatic and knowing that these exist, but still at the end of the day, not spending all of the energy on this, on like, oh,
Of
the world
course,
is unfair or
of course not. There are so many good people out there, more than the bad people. I can argue. I've never seen a truly evil people. I have yet to see this person. I'm sure I'm going to meet them very soon.
oh my god.
But I have seen people who can be quite cruel, and they have the reasons for being so. But it's just understanding. I always say, actually, it's to the contrary. It's good to mingle with the bad guys sometimes, so that you understand the
Mm,
other side. Some people were not born in the perfect circumstances, and this has led them to become the people that they are today. Mingle with
mm,
them, understand how they got there and why they got there, and see how the darker people are. But the thing is, if you're consistently this butterfly, nothing, you're just not going to get there. You have to understand that the world we live in today is not the best model ever. And some people will do what they can to just get ahead, even if it means destroying
mm.
the world around them. So I think it's important to just understand that. But like you said, focus on it? No, by no means. There are amazing people out there as well, and amazing successful people. They're getting ahead in life by being good. I'm not saying that, but there are also so many bad guys who are, very successful and very happy.
But like, it's kind of a philosophical question, but I want to know, how do you define good and bad?
I would say apart, there's the unethical part. A lot of people are quite unethical in the way they operate. And a lot of people feel like they do not care about others, like they think about themselves only. And this is very dangerous when you are a leader, in my opinion, or in a position of power, because you have influence over people, right? The future of people is in your hands. So if you operate from this vision or from this, you don't care about people at all, and you can destroy futures and not care or even think that you have good intentions, which is worse. I've seen people say, my intentions are pure, but you are destroying others. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. So there are so many ways of being good and so many ways of being bad. But like you said, it's a very philosophical question, defining good and bad for sure. But I think there are so many people in this world that we can agree are quite bad, and others that we can agree are good, and others that we can say it's a gray area. You see them however you want to see them.
I'm usually an advocate for gray areas, honestly,
Exactly, exactly.
because you can see more colors when you're like, not everything is black and white.
So true. I'm more of a black and white person, and I think this is why this conversation is so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Dina, what makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I love dancing. I love belly dancing out of all forms of dancing. Oh my gosh, it's like the best thing in the world. So it does
Nice.
inspire me. Yeah, I'm a very good dancer, I must say, and this is something that I'm not humble about, because I know a lot of people are bad dancers, and I like to rub this in their faces. No, I'm just joking. But belly dance is an art for sure. I love it. So it does inspire me. And words in general, I'm inspired by words. Anytime I hear beautiful words, anytime I see a beautiful script in a movie, I'm just like, wow. And the person who's next to you watching the movie with you is like, they're not even listening, they're just like, what? And I'm like, did you hear this? This is amazing. And they're like, no, I'm watching the movie. I don't care. But I really believe in writing in words, and this is just magical to me.
Are you a writer?
Yes, definitely. I like lifestyle. I love fiction. I was gonna write a book, and I started a book actually, but I didn't finish it. But I love writing. It's a passion for me.
Wow, what's the book about?
I wish I could remember. It was a very interesting story. It was like about three princesses, and the prince, I think, fell in love with the three of them. Each princess had like a different personality. It was so cool and so sassy, but I didn't have the patience. I wrote like a few pages, and I was like, I don't know. So I moved to magazines.
Hope you get to finish it one day.
I really hope so. I would love to write a book actually. I would love it and see if it's going to sell. But I don't know if people still read. I'm not sure.
But we were just talking about something like this before recording. Like, if you're passionate about something, you have to fulfill it without thinking too much. People are going to read it. Are they going to like it? What are they? Don't be your own worst critic, I guess.
Very
Yeah, because I was telling you how before I started this podcast, I thought a lot about what would it look like. Would it be mediocre? Would it reflect bad on me? I had all of these doubts, and then once I just thought, okay, I'll just do it. I'll not worry about anything. I will try to have fun, and that's how I'm just enjoying it. Really, like I'm doing it. My friends keep giving me like, maybe you should do this, do that, and helping me out with ideas, and I love it. And I also love, like, I'm just trying out things. I'm just playing in the water and seeing how it will go.
I think it's a phenomenal idea, and I think the biggest proof that you are getting everyone's attention is that I came to you and said I want to be on this podcast.
Thank you so much.
This is the biggest proof that you're doing really well.
Thank you so much. But I mean, I hope that just inspires you in a way to, like, yeah, just do it and don't worry about who will read it. Just do something for yourself, because I think it will reflect a lot on your even on self-esteem, because you're like, yes, I did this for me.
Yeah,
Because recently I came across very recently with this kind of idea and notion that your self-worth shouldn't be your job, only your job, what you do in life. And for a while I was I'm still proud of my career and everything, of course, but like for a while it was the thing that I would mention first. Like, yeah, I am this person who works at this company. This used to be like the main highlight of how I would define myself. And it's changed since, I think the pandemic has changed a lot of things when it comes to
oh
this.
my gosh, yes, yes.
Yeah. So suddenly I wanted to be much more than what I do. And I continue to try and think of myself in different ways. Yes, I'm not just a PR and comms manager, but like, no, I have a lot of other things that I can do and offer, and a lot to my personality.
That is so true. That is so true. Recently, I've been discovering the same thing. What else? Dina is a person with so many personalities, so many angles. You're not only the person sitting in this office. So I think we always need a platform to explore that.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment I've ever received. It's always stuff that has to do with my writing. I always think this is really amazing to me when people tell me that they like my writing, when people tell me that. But it's very nice when it comes from people you don't really know. As the people you know are always gonna say, nice things and stuff. But when someone you don't know reads something, and I had before a colleague's boyfriend he told her, I want you to tell her that her writing is actually quite good and I love the way she connects things. And I thought that was amazing because I don't know the guy. So for him to say that, that was really, really nice. And I still remember it until now.
I want to mention a topic that is not as much fun, but like I think it affected us all. So I wanted to ask you about the COVID-19 pandemic, or the past 3 years. How did it affect your life, and what did you learn in the process?
Where do I start? I don't know what happened. Until now, I don't even know what happened to us. But I honestly think I was a Dina, and after the pandemic, I became a different Dina. And I think I'm still a little bit lost, and it had just it moved so many things in my life, and it gave me a super different perspective on things. I think we've all grown a few years, aged, if you want to say it, because the pandemic it was challenging, and for journalists even more so. It has challenged our existence because now people think we are just content writers and there isn't that much of a need. What you need to do to learn to do how to go get into the metaverse and write about Bitcoin or whatever, these weird topics that started appearing. So it has changed so much, so much. And it has highlighted the fact that you really need to focus on yourself and understand yourself more than anything and know what is of value to you. And this is something that I'm struggling with until today. I'm trying to find the stuff that I'm most passionate about in life and just balance these things together because I love so many things at the same time. And sometimes I don't know how to what to prioritize. And this I think is one of the tricky things, especially for girls who are living abroad on their own without family or anything. So it has changed a lot. What can I say? Just transformation, really. And I think it's ongoing. I think it's not over. I think it has done something to this world where the world has shifted. That is for sure. What can I say?
Look at you nodding.
I cannot say that it was happy. I would be lying. I mean, it was.
Who would say it was happy? Come on, like we've all been
I will tell you
through some
something.
stuff.
I have some friends who are now in a better place than they were before. And they are actually blaming me for not seeing this as a learning opportunity. But for me, I was in a better place before the pandemic for sure.
No, I hate when people, like, everyone's experience is different with
Yes,
everything, with grief, with loss, with everything. So yeah, I talk a lot about how the pandemic has affected me in the podcast because it was a unique experience for me. Like I would have never, a lot of things has changed, and yeah, some of them for the better, some of them for the worse. Like Dina, we all know that. Like for me, for instance, I lost my dad to COVID last year in June,
so sorry.
and this experience of course has changed me a lot. But even before that, the good thing I would say is that the pandemic has forced me to become an adult. Like I was this late 20 woman who just refused to acknowledge that I'm becoming an adult who has, like a car loan and bills to pay and all of that. I was acting all the time as I'm a kid. Why do people take me seriously at work? You know what I mean? Like I was escaping adulthood as much as I could. Let's just put it this way. Like I was always in my head thinking, "Oh, I'm just a young kid exploring and being curious and all." And the pandemic, in a way, forced me to knock it off, or like, okay, acknowledge that I'm growing, I'm becoming an adult. It's okay. There is some fun to it as well, which is, yeah, you take matters to your own hand more. You become responsible for your own decisions much more. So there is fun in that. In a nutshell, I would say that the pandemic had good and bad, no doubt about it, but it changed me. Yeah, for sure. I cannot say it hasn't affected me and my life and changed my life forever. So for everyone around in the world, I think it has affected them in a way. Was it positive or negative? The positive outweighs the negative or not? That's a different discussion. But of course, it has affected us all.
Oh, big time. I don't think there's anyone who can say I'm still the same or I haven't felt it, or I think the world has shifted. And I think, I don't know if there's divine reason behind that, but I think there was a reason, whatever it was, behind the pandemic to happen. I think we needed a wake up call, all of us. And I think we got that. I think we got that for sure. We've all learned that, you know what? No, this version of you needs to go. There's a new version that needs to come, whether you like it or not. And and think about your decisions, think about your mistakes, and own up to it, like they say, you know. And uh, and I think the people who have realized that, like you said, ended up sort of stabilizing now, you know, because you realize that something needed changing. That's for sure. So yeah, yeah, it's been a rough ride, like they say.
Where can listeners find you online, Dina?
Find me online. They can find me on LinkedIn, of course, where I'm just trying to understand the LinkedIn algorithm and how a very simple
What don't you understand about the algorithm?
how a very simple trivial post gets 4,000 likes and people who are
Yeah,
posting content are not getting likes. I don't understand. I have a friend who works for LinkedIn, so I'm going to try to poke her and understand more about that. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, I'm the meme queen on Instagram. I post so many funny things, so they can find me there. And
nice.
yeah, so everywhere basically.
Dina, thank you so much for joining me today. I had fun talking to you.
I had so much fun. Thank you. It's been amazing.
Thanks a lot, Dina.
Thank you so much.